Okay, folks, welcome to Swing Trading Today. This is Bob Desmond, and we're going to talk about this morning some symbols that were brought up yesterday. UGAZ, the DGAZ as well, which is the inverse ETF. Then we're going to talk about the futures market, and we will also talk about the one chart that has me a bit concerned, which is the Dow Transports. And how we're closing out the week. So it's very, very important, the Dow Transports, because they have been leading the market these past couple of years. So it's a forward-looking indicator. We'll take a look at it. It may be nothing. And as a reminder, Sunday night we'll be live. We'll be talking about the futures markets when they open up at around 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But before we get into the charts, I would ask you if you could please, if you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe, click that bell button so you get notified in the future. And if you could also leave a comment, it really helps me out with the YouTube algorithms. I'd appreciate it. And let's get started with a comment that was posted by Trent a few minutes ago. Here I am. I'm sitting here and I'm doing my due diligence, getting ready for the show, and I see a comment pop up. Now, I mentioned Justin Trudeau yesterday, so I'm looking at this and I say, man, now I'm trying to do my homework and get ready, but I can't get ready because now I'm focused on Justin Trudeau, who I can't stand. And so I had to go take a look at pictures. So here we go. I have to lead off this morning with not a chart, nothing to do with finance, but good old Justin Trudeau. So let's take a quick look at Justin here. There we go. This is precious. This is outstanding. Now, I have never liked this guy. Not one day in his entire life have I liked him. But I dislike him less now for being somewhat half human. So the fact that everybody's getting all offended about this is actually shocking because I find it so hysterical. So he actually looks like he did a good job. So I'm actually defending Justin here, although this is going to destroy him in his re-election bid. So oh well. Let's get to the charts. And if you could leave a comment. Where are you from? I'm really interested. And also, if you have a stock you want me to review, if we have time in a few minutes, I'll be more than happy to take a look at those charts for you. And if you're looking to get long or short of that position, and if you're currently holding the position, okay? So let's get to the charts. The first up is going to be, we'll see you later. We'll see you later, Justin. The first chart up is going to be the Dow Transports. Now, the transports have been a leading indicator of late of as to where the markets were going to go in the future. And you can see that last week we rallied right up and into the upper band of resistance. This week, again, we rallied up and into the upper band of resistance, but post-Fed announcement, the transports have not caught a bid and in fact have weakened. And you could lay some of the blame at the doorstep of FedEx. And that's a problem, obviously, for FedEx. But as a whole, the sector, this is a problem. Now, would I go shorting it here? No, we're way too close to a breakout point. But I would certainly keep an eye on the Dow Transports daily chart. And you can see that we're holding on to the 10,500 mark. So the transports, I keep forgetting the microphone. The transports are looking a bit weak here. Now let's segue over and into the futures market. And I want to kick things off with the US dollar. The dollar, when I woke up this morning, I got up really early this morning at around 3:30. The dollar was very weak. We were breaking down below this lower band of support on a 4-hour chart. These will all be 4-hour charts. And we had broken down, yet we flashed a reversal bar. We are in a descending wedge formation, and we are reaching the pinnacle of that formation. So while the trend short term is still down, I can look at this on a daily basis as still being a consolidation. However, that daily chart is fairly weak. I am concerned about the dollar. I'm kind of hoping that it does break, because what that means is that my gold position, or my gold mining position, will do well. So this 4-hour bar is now closed. It closed at 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We now have a new bar opened, and it looks as though we have put in an intra-period high. That bar will close at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we have a breakout in RSI. So the chart of the US dollar this morning anyway is looking pretty good. Now, when I talk about the dollar, I want to talk about gold. Now, gold, when I woke up, was higher. It was up around a little over $7, and now we have pulled back slightly. We're up over a third percentage point, $5.70 the ounce. And what I'm looking for here is a breakout on a 4-hour basis. We'll turn this red. Okay. So I would be looking to add to my gold mining trade on a breakout above this upper band of resistance. Now, our position in NUGT did very well yesterday. We closed above the 32.50 level. We were looking for that level to hold. It did hold. Ideally, we close out the week above that level. That's what I'll be looking for. Then I want to see continuation move higher next week, and we'll be looking to add to that position. And we also need to see a breakout on gold. And if the dollar rallies and we have an absence of geopolitical risk, I'm going to be a little bit more cautious with position sizing, because usually gold and the dollar will trade in tandem when you have geopolitical risk. Absent that, you're not going to get that trade in tandem. So be very, very careful. And I would be looking for a pullback in oil, because I was looking at oil earlier. And what we're doing here on this 4-hour chart is that we are breaking down. I mentioned this yesterday morning, and I called. I took a quick look at what I said yesterday morning, because I was so exhausted yesterday. And I called this a bull flag setup. It's actually a bear flag setup. It was a rally back, and we have now broken down below the lower band of support here on a 4-hour basis. We don't have a new intra-period low yet on this 4-hour chart, but I'll be looking for a continuation breakdown on oil. Why does this matter for the price of gold and for the US dollar? It matters because if you get a sharp pullback in oil, you could expect saber rattling out of the United States. Why? It's because we are the largest producer of oil in the world. Many people don't know that. And Saudi Arabia is the third largest, with Russia being the second largest. So the problem is for the United States is that it costs us a lot more to produce that barrel of oil. So our profitability is not as great per barrel. So if the price of oil pulls back, that puts pressure on the frackers. And when you take a look at the junk bond market comes under pressure, and nobody wants that, right? Because that's all bad news. And you have a lot of jobs in the fracking sector. The president cannot go into 2020 losing jobs in the fracking sector. So how do you keep the price of oil higher? You keep it higher by causing geopolitical risk to shoot up higher. How do you do that? Saber rattling. Threats of an attack on Iran. We're flying B-52 bombers over to Bahrain, or where we usually station them when we go to war in the Middle East. Stuff like that will float to the surface, and then, of course, you get your rise in oil. So that's my long story short on the price of oil, and it's important to keep an eye on it. Taking a look at Bitcoin, yesterday morning when I spoke, we had a horrible morning. We sold off hard, but we have since rallied back to recapture support. Now, this last 4-hour bar, we closed right on top of support. This new 4-hour bar, which is not closed yet, again, we just opened up 11 minutes ago. So this won't close until 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But the price of Bitcoin is back down below the support level. Ideally, it closes above this green line here, which marks at current resistance. It should be support. And if we get a breakout above this upper band of resistance, then Bitcoin you could look at as being a potential buy. And I would expect a rally up and into this resistance level up here at the 10,800 mark. And at current, we are at 10,170. So Bitcoin, interesting today. Let's swing over to the S&P futures. Now, we saw on a daily basis yesterday, we saw some bearish key reversals on the IWM in particular, on the Dow, and on the S&P 500. So the price action was not wonderful yesterday. So in terms of a reaction to a rate cut and pretty much the promise of more QE, they won't call it QE, they'll call it something else. But it's already begun. So the markets are not behaving well in the face of what is an activist Federal Reserve, albeit they are somewhat reluctant, but they are doing the president's bidding, and we're not seeing the big move higher yet on the S&P 500, especially the Dow transports. So is the market sniffing out that there's just something unhealthy about this voodoo economics that we're going through right now? Maybe. But given that, again, we have the 2020 elections and the fact that the Federal Reserve is on board at current with doing the president's bidding, and the fact that Treasury Secretary Mnuchin is just going to call up the big banks and say, listen, this market's rolling over, start buying. And they'll do whatever he says, and they'll keep this market aloft. So would I go shorting this market overall? No, not yet. It's still very close to a breakout point. And if anything, I'm expecting a breakout, albeit probably a weak breakout, but a breakout nonetheless. And at any time, looking for a black swan event here to occur. I mean, the fact that the Federal Reserve lost control of short-term interest rates a couple of times this week, that's scary stuff. And the fact that they had to intervene for the first time since the financial crisis, this is not getting enough play. This is really important stuff. So were I to get long of this market and buying a put below to hedge that position, maybe. I'm looking at the TNA right now, which is the leveraged ETF for the small caps, but on a daily basis yesterday, that didn't look good. So it really pays at current to keep an eye on the charts as you proceed into the final hour of trade, because we looked good all day long yesterday, Let's bring up a chart of the TNA. We'll go to a 15-minute chart. And you can see that we had a very good run yesterday. That all ended here at 11:15, and we just sold off into the close. So my point being, don't go chasing the morning rally. It's a sucker's rally. This is not the type of price action you want to see in a bull market. So please, I would wait to the 3 p.m. hour, as close to that 4 o'clock bell you can get to before you execute your order, the better off you are. Especially if you have a small trading account and you're trading with an account less than $25,000, you have the FINRA rules. So if you're bought here chasing the stock higher and you get stopped out, well, you run the risk of being labeled a pattern day trader. So you want to avoid that, right? So the closer you buy into the close, the less risk that you see, or the less risk that you have of having to stop out because your stop has been triggered and you don't run afoul of the FINRA rules. And that's my tale of woe on TNA. So we're watching it. I'm not ready to pull the trigger here yet. You can see that they're limping it higher in the pre-market. I want to see how it closes out the day. I don't care what it's doing in the pre-market. Let's talk about the NASDAQ. We'll go back to a 4-hour chart. And the NASDAQ is stable. You can see that these Bollinger Bands, they're becoming very, very tight. And that's a good sign because the trend is up, and the probability of that trend resuming is fairly good. So the probable break for the NASDAQ should be to the upside. Now, we're positive this morning. We're gaining some strength. The question is, do we hold those gains or do we fade as we saw with the small caps? Now, taking a look at yesterday's price action, here was the rally in the NASDAQ, a strong morning. Then we faded into the afternoon. No big sell-off at the close, but just keep in mind, they're spiking the market higher only to sell it off. So don't go chasing. I can't give financial advice. I wouldn't go chasing the market in the morning. And I keep repeating that over and over again because it's a lesson I learned the hard way. I'm sharing it with you. That's all. If you're new to trading. Let's take a look at bonds, the 10-year bond price. Now, we were weak this last 4-hour bar. We have an inside week so far. So meaning we didn't take out the highs of last week and we didn't take out the lows. So the jury's out on the bond market right now, but it looks as though we are picking up a little bit of steam. We're still down on the session. However, we broke out here last night. We've pulled back close to a retest of this breakout point. We need to see a rally up and through the morning's highs before we get all giddy about the 10-year bond price. Now, if we get a new high on the 10-year bond price, meaning day over day, you should expect to see the price of gold move higher as well, probably up and into this upper band of resistance. I want to see that breakout. I want to see the retest of this breakout point. Then we'll get a little bit more aggressive. And as we segue over into the UGAZ, we're only 19 minutes in. I have a few minutes to go here before I head out to the gym. If you want to throw a symbol in there that you're interested in, I'll take a look at it for you. Let's bring up the chart of the DGAZ. Now, yesterday, I made a comment that I would not buy the DGAZ, and of course, as luck would have it, of course, it rallied. And so the question should then be at current, since the shares rallied yesterday, would I be a buyer today now that we've seen a rally? No, because a couple of things need to happen. I need to see on a weekly basis, let's bring up the UGAZ. I need to see on a weekly basis that okay, let's bring this up. Okay, so we broke out last week above resistance. This week we're flirting with a outside reversal week and a probable breakdown below this lower band of support. So a very bearish week for the UGAZ. If somebody knows the nat gas inventories report, that's probably the reason why we saw a weak UGAZ yesterday on nat gas. Do we? I didn't look at the report because I'm not long at the position, but did we get a negative report on nat gas where there's a higher build? I believe that comes out Thursdays, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's probably the reason for the reversal and the rally in the DGAZ. So what I would want to see is a close below support on UGAZ on a weekly basis before I entertain getting long of the DGAZ. I want to see a confirmation breakdown on a weekly basis. Now, the UGAZ 4-hour bar, we're still using this 1981 level as a at current support level. It's holding. What we have maybe here is this is it's a long shot. I'm extrapolating out here. What we may get is a possible head and shoulders setup. Left shoulder, head. We may rally here and form a right shoulder. So I would watch the 2189 level on UGAZ. If that fails and we break down below this neckline here, then is the time to strike the DGAZ, putting you short of natural gas. So that's my 2 cents on this trade. Hey Samuel. Uh, good morning to you. BABA, yesterday breakout and retest. Let's bring it up. And I'm using TrendSpider here, folks. They're a supporter. If you want a 25% discount, click the link down below and use discount code CT25Z. Get 25% off. BABA. Okay, so let's go to a weekly, monthly view first. $188 would be where resistance is. All right, so on a monthly basis, we're in a triangle formation. We have resistance above at 188 spot, 189 spot 41. We are up on the week. We have a new weekly high. We have a little bit of topping action on, monthly high, a new monthly high. Sorry about that. This is the problem with doing the live stream. Normally I would just edit that out. So sorry for the bloopers. So we have a new monthly high, which is great. I mean, in fact, you could say that, you know what, we were consolidating here and we broke out on a monthly basis and we're looking good. So the probability of a move higher up and into this resistance level looks pretty good. Now, drilling down, as I like to do with multi-time frame analysis, is to take a look at where we now stand on a weekly basis. And on a weekly basis, yes, we have a breakout. Samuel, do you mean a breakout on a, I'm looking at your note, on a daily basis? All right, so BABA yesterday breakout and retested. All right, so I'll go to a daily chart in a moment. Okay, so because we retested the breakout point on a weekly basis a couple of weeks ago, and we are seeing a continuation move higher. Here's our upper band of resistance. So what I want to do here is, this could be a good trade. So I want to create an alert. I want to keep this active for a while because we are using a monthly and weekly uh, resistance level to trade off of. So from a higher level view, the chart is looking good on a monthly basis and on a weekly basis, but the 800-pound gorilla in the room is the fact that we have resistance right above here. Now, drilling down to the daily chart, we'll view the health on a daily basis. All right, so the trend is strong. However, we did flash a reversal day yesterday. So I would want to see, Samuel, if we hold this support level on a daily basis. So this is one where I wouldn't necessarily say we had a retest. We had a breakout and it was able to close above support, but we reversed off the highs of the day. So what that tells me is a couple of things. One is that the two standard deviation Bollinger Band, which I usually use a 3, but a two standard deviation Bollinger Band, we tapped that and some technical selling moved in. We also have buyers back here from back in April, March, and they are looking to get out, right? So you have overhead supply. They're looking to get made whole. They're looking for that red entry on their trading platform, which finally just turned green. They're flat, they're even, they're satisfied with that. They want to move on. They're selling. That doesn't mean it's not a buy. It just means that it's going to probably take some time to get through these potential sellers. So I wouldn't go buying just yet. And bringing up a 4-hour chart, you can see that we, yes, did break out yesterday, but that final 4 hours of trade was brutal, right? But we did close, and we did close above that support level, which is a really good thing. I'm reading your note now. Bad stuff is that we have big registration resistance at 184. Yeah, 184. Yeah, in that neighborhood. I mean, it's a range, right? 184 to 186, thereabouts. So yeah, you have resistance up in that level. Minor resistance here, but more of a macro view. This is the one. This is the Pimp Mac Daddy up here. You get through this resistance level up here, there is no overhead supply above, right? So that's clear blue skies, no resistance above. So I would be so inclined as to buy the shares on a breakout above this upper band of resistance, because when we take out, or if we take out $203.27, it's game on. no overhead supply. So that's why I like this trade. That's why I set up the alert. So we'll keep it active. We'll keep an eye on it for you. Any other requests? And while I'm waiting for any requests to come in, I'll take a quick meander back and take a look at the futures market, see if anything's changed, and we can always come back to review your symbols. All right, so gold continues to hold the gains in the morning. No 4-hour, again, this is a 4-hour chart. These will all be 4-hour charts. No new move higher versus the prior 4-hour bar. The dollar, so the dollar did, as we mentioned earlier, it did put in a new 4-hour high. It's inching up towards the upper band of resistance, but we are pulling back slightly. Now, I always do this. Sorry for the interruption here. I clicked the wrong button. Here we go. Okay, so if we break the lows of the morning on the dollar, it's going to get very, very ugly, very, very fast for the US dollar. Because when you take a look at the dollar on a daily chart, let's bring up the dollar. I'll bring up my annotated version. Okay, so here's the UUP, the dollar bull ETF on a daily basis. You're very welcome, Samuel. Be very, very careful with the morning rally here in the dollar if you're a currency trader, if you're trading Forex, because in all probability, we're going to get a reversal day on the US dollar. So while in the pre-market it's looking good, the trend on a daily basis, which takes precedence over a 4-hour basis because it's more of a smoothing mechanism, the daily chart is weak and it's not looking good. And yesterday we flashed a doji stock formation. There's indecision here. Would I be a shorter of the dollar? No. I would short the dollar on a break below the support level here. But technically, by being long of the gold miners, we're already short of the US dollar vis-a-vis the fact that they trade generally inversely of each other. So I'm relatively bearish on the dollar because we're going back to QE, right? Despite the fact that we have a Fed chairman that is reluctant to cut rates more. We have already seen him intervene in the markets for the first time in 10 years, providing liquidity. That is not dollar bullish. So if they begin in earnest adding more or buying back our debt because it's not selling, then you're going to see the dollar drop through the floor. And the only thing that's going to keep the dollar up in the short term is the fact that the Europeans, the EU, with the ECB, they are just so out of control that they make the dollar look good when the euro is a disaster area. It's Robert at thecontrariantrader.com, Samuel. And folks, with that, I don't see any other chart requests. We'll call it a morning. It is 5:34 in the a.m. Please, if you're not currently a subscriber to my YouTube channel, please click that subscribe button, give me a like if you would, and click that notification bell so you get notified when I go live. And if you want to join the 14-day free trial offer, we certainly welcome you to join, and you can cancel at any time. You just go into your membership area, click a button, and you're canceled out if it's not for you. We only want people that want to be in the forum that are either learning or they are offering up information or a mixture of both. I learn all the time. Usually I learn from when I get members' requests and I take a look at them and I say, wow, this is a great chart pattern. Great to share, great to talk about. That's one of the greatest values of the forum. I do not use I get asked this all the time. Why don't I have a chat room? I don't have a chat room because it facilitates what I like to see, or what I believe is impulsive buying and selling. I've gone into other chat rooms of competitors and I see people, they get a trade alert, or they're offered a bit of advice from another chat room user. What do? They go in, they buy the stock, and somebody's front running the stock, and these people go buying the stock, and the shares sell up. I want no part of that. That's not my service. I don't want to be any part of that. I want people to take their time, do their own due diligence, take what I have to say with a grain of salt, go back, do your due diligence, and if the trade is right for you, then so be it. And if you have a question with regards to the trade, you want me to follow, or if you want to follow up with me, offer your own opinions and challenge me, great, challenge me. I love it. I love the feedback, whether or not you're getting value out of this video. What could I do different on the live stream to keep you engaged? Please offer it up. I love constructive feedback. So you're not going to hurt my feelings as long as you're not rude and call me ugly. All right? I already know I'm not the greatest looking guy in the world. So that's it for this morning, folks. Everybody have a profitable trading day. I'll talk to you soon. Be well.